This video is a real-life coding example in 3 different languages. To view this week's lecture on programming methods, click here. And to watch this week's lecture on computer science beyond just normal programming, click here. Okay, let's go ahead and practice getting input and output from the console.
Alrighty.
Okay, so let's go ahead and create a new project. And feel free to call this whatever you want. Yeah, do that. Perfect. So, just to explain, just about every programming language, there's a bit of a cliche with this, and we were talking about this beforehand. But "Hello World" is just a statement that you can. Okay, hold on. Thank you. That just all showed up on a different screen. So "Hello World" is kind of the first program that you write, and basically all you do for this program is you display "Hello World" to the console. In fact, it just comes pre-programmed already on C++. Yeah. In fact, in Visual Studios, we could just go ahead and go to the debugging tab and start without debugging. Yeah, just like that. And boom, that's the "Hello World." And so Is it me you're looking for? Yeah. Okay, so anyway, we've just kind of broken the order of the universe by doing this as our second program, unfortunately. That's okay.
Rebel.
Yeah, we're all rebels. Okay, go ahead and get rid of that. Do you mind if I just explain what we've got going on here?
Sure.
Okay, so all of this over here with the 2 black backsplashes, and then you've got the
Backsplashes?
backslashes, and you have that's a little piece from your world, and then you have this green text afterwards. This is all called comments, and they really just work like notes or sticky notes that you can kind of leave for yourself in code, or leave for the next programmer who comes to inspect your code. And this is what the the people who wrote Visual Studios and wrote this particular program wrote this all in here, so that you would know how to just get started with Visual Studio. So we're going to just erase that. And every time that we build one of these, we're just going to erase that. Okay. We don't need it. Up here, this pound or hashtag include means go look for a library. And if it's just a name, go look in the standard set of C++ libraries that come when you install Visual Studios or when you install C++ on your computer. And so it's including a particular library named IOStream, or Input Output Stream. That's what it stands for.
Okay. Okay.
And inside the Input Output Stream, there's this command called cout. And this cout right here stands for console out. It looks like count, but we always say cout. And then this is the insertion operator, and basically it just sends whatever's after it to the console.
Okay.
Okay. And then this right here, this looks kind of interesting. What that's saying is use the standard namespace, which is a great topic to talk about, but maybe years down the road, maybe weeks down the road when we understand this all a little bit better.
Okay. I'm fine with that.
Basically, you can rewrite C++ to mean whatever you want it to mean. But we want it to do the things that C++ naturally does. And so we're always going to be staying in this.
We're just going to stay there.
Yeah, we're going to stay there. If you were working for a company that specializes in a specific software and you kind of wanted to tweak the code of C++ a little bit, you could change that. The problem with this is that every single time we write cout or any of the other commands, we're going to have to keep on adding this if we want the default settings.
That's not fun.
No, that's not fun. It's going to be actually kind of tedious. So we can get rid of that with just about one line.
That's nice.
Yep. So let me go ahead and I'll turn this all back over to you.
Okay.
And on line 1, write using, and then space namespace, all one word, and then std colon, or semicolon. Sorry. And now we don't need that std standard, or that std : : there we go. Great. And so now we can just write C out anytime we want, and it won't ask for that.
Cool.
If we didn't do that line on line 1, we'd get an error.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to need one other library for this.
Okay.
Go ahead and hit on line 3, write hashtag pound. I like pound. Pound include.
Finding another library.
Find another library. We're looking for the string library. The string library has a command in it that we will use later on.
Okay.
Okay?
I don't need a colon, do I?
No. Nope.
Okay.
For some reason, it doesn't want that.
Okay.
Okay. So now, go ahead and let's display something else to the screen. We can even go ahead and create a new line. And just what's something that you want to tell the world?
You are awesome.
Okay. Go ahead and write your cout statement. Those 2 waka wakas or carrots, whatever you want to call them. 2 less than. There you go.
Cool.
Okay, great. Now let me explain something about this hello world statement up here.
Okay.
So you notice after, right there, that little guy. Now, this first character right here, this is, by itself, it's just backslash, right? Mm-hmm. But right next to another character, it's called the escape character. And there's a reason for this. Now imagine you wanted to write quotation mark inside your string here.
Okay.
You want it to be actually part of the string. You notice what it's doing? Right here, it's ending. Ends. Yeah, it's ending the string, and then it's like, well, what the heck is that? And that's why we have an error there. Mm-hmm. Well, you still have to be able to include quotation marks in there. So we put the escape character in there, and it says, hey, whatever comes after this, just include it as part of the string. Don't look at it as part of the code.
Okay.
Okay. And then the next character, it will reset, and it'll be like, oh, okay, well, I see this as code and not this as code.
Okay.
Okay. Well, this N stands for new line. So /N stands for new line. And that's because you can't really, there's no good way to do an enter. You can't hit enter, and the computer's just going to read it as white space and completely ignore it.
Because that's move on to the next thing.
Exactly. Because sometimes you have to keep moving on. You have to keep on making new lines in your code, even though you're not making new lines. That's a little more expensive.
That makes sense.
Great. So let's go ahead and add another one of those characters in.
Okay. I like that. I don't want things smushed together.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great.
And I'm guessing I need a semicolon.
Semicolon, yep, okay. Exactly. Do you want to run that?
Sure.
Okay, let's go ahead and go to debug. Start without debugging. Hello world, you are awesome. And then you can see we've started a new line. Kind of put some space between the path and our code. Okay, let's go ahead and get some input from the user.
Okay.
And to do this, we're going to have a space to store the input. So we should probably make a string variable.
Okay.
So why don't you go ahead and write the variable type.
Okay, so string, right?
Right, exactly. And then you actually need the name of your variable.
So answer is what we were saying?
Yeah. Let's go ahead and use answer. Okay. And then you can just hit a semicolon. We could put an equals. We could put like an equals.
And that would be like in any situation. Every situation it will be this.
So if you wanted to assign it some kind of value, you could put this equals quotation mark and anything inside the quotation marks. This would kind of reset it so it would be blank. But there's really no need to do that. We can just leave the garbage values that are already on the shelf there.
Okay.
And because we'll be setting it pretty soon.
Okay.
Now we can use two different commands here. And just to show you how they work differently from each other, let's go ahead and use the first one. We'll use cin.
Okay.
That stands for console in, just like cout stands for console out.
Okay.
Okay.
And do I do these little carrots?
But you're going to have them go the opposite direction.
Okay.
So when they're pointing to the cout statement, they're called the insertion operator. And when they're pointing to the away from the C statement, we should say, they're called the extraction operator. So we're going to extract some kind of information from the user.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh,
Or
good.
from the
That makes
console,
sense.
really. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Okay. Now it wants to know where we're going to store it. So you could just type your variable name.
Okay. So answer.
Yep.
Cool. Anything else?
Go ahead and put a semicolon. And then we should probably do something to display the answer.
Okay.
So,
Cout
yeah, we'll see out it. Yep.
and answer. Or
Yep. Answer. And we could even add a label so that people know that it's going to be our answer.
okay.
So beforehand, yeah, exactly.
Like that?
Like that, you could say your answer is.
I don't know if I'm spelling right.
You're good. You're good. Perfect. Exactly. Okay. And then put the insertion operator,
Okay.
because we can combine
Yeah.
this. And on the other side of the
Oh, I'm
quotation
sorry.
mark. No, you're good.
'Kay.
You are totally good.
So,
Quotation mark to end that string, and then say we're going to insert a little bit more. So the waka wakas or the carrots.
Oh, okay.
Perfect. And then you write answer, the name of the variable.
Perfect. Okay, that makes sense. Sorry, I was like confused for a second. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm with you.
Cool. Okay.
Okay, cool. So now there's only one problem that I can see with this.
We don't have a question.
Yeah, the user has no clue what we know exactly what we want them to, but we will just want them to write some kind of data because we want to display it to the screen. But they have no clue that we want that. So let's go ahead and write another cout statement and write your question. What is your favorite color? Love it. Okay, great. Do you want to run it?
Sure.
Okay.
Oh.
Good catch. Good catch.
I'm learning slowly.
You're learning a lot faster than I did.
Okay, so we're still just getting the spot where we type something, right? Like,
Exactly.
hi.
Exactly. Now hit enter. And you can see we got all of everything else after we got our input. So they didn't know what kind of question.
It's because all this is after this.
Exactly. It's running sequentially, or what we call this procedural programming. And so it just
Okay.
runs, it follows one procedure and goes on to the next one.
Okay.
So we could just rearrange the order of our code and probably fix a lot of this.
Okay. So I'm guessing we want to put this before answer.
Yep.
Like right after this.
Yeah, anytime before line 10. There we go. Great. And we probably don't need this on line 13 anymore
Oh,
because we just
true.
duplicated that.
Okay.
Okay. And then
Now, sorry, before we move on, can I put this here?
you can. And can I show you another way to do it?
Yeah.
Okay. So you can do it when you're in quotation marks. It's really easy to just do it like that.
Okay.
Okay. And there's another one that you don't have to use. You could, in this case, you can put more waka wakas, and then you can put a quotation mark and an escape symbol and there you go. You can do that. There's another command called end L to end the line.
In the line. Okay.
It's the same amount of characters, but this kind of just looks cleaner.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. So
Okay. Perfect. Should we run it again?
let's run her again.
Okay.
Okay.
Hello, world. You are awesome. What is your favorite color? What if my favorite color was avocado green.
That is perfect, because that's going to help us to understand the difference between cin and that other command that I alluded to us talking about later on. So yeah, let's go ahead and run that.
Oh.
Okay, so you notice it looked for cin will take all the input up to the first white space. As soon as it gets to white space or black space, I guess.
In this case.
In this case, yeah, exactly. It's looking for that to terminate the input.
Okay.
Okay.
Interesting.
So if you wanted to get multiple words, there's another command that you would use.
Well, let's go do that.
Okay, sounds good. So let's get rid of that cin.
This one?
Yep. On line 11, get rid of that whole statement. Okay, and we're going to type get line. And then some parentheses. Open and close parentheses. Yeah, there you go. And let's get rid of the space in between them.
Oh, in between these two.
Yes, exactly. I'm sorry.
That makes sense. Okay.
Okay, so this right here is something that we haven't dealt with yet, but it should look vaguely familiar. If you compare between line 5 and line 11, you'll notice a very similar construction. You have a name and in parentheses. This is going to be one of the most important topics in computer science, and we're not going to talk about it for a couple more weeks.
Okay.
Okay? But these are called functions. And basically, just like our main part of our program is written with a name and then some parentheses, we're calling another part of a program. Now, this program that we're calling lives inside of the string library.
Oh, okay.
That we've already imported. So it's just kind of it's in our code, but we're not seeing it yet.
Okay.
Okay? So we're calling it, we're saying, "Hey, will you run this program?" And it's saying, "Yeah, I'll run this program, except you have to give me some information first."
Okay.
Now, what getLine wants is it wants to know how am I going to get this line and where am I going to store it.
Okay.
So let's write cin right there, exactly. And that tells it, go to get it from the console.
Okay.
Now put a comma and write the name of our variable, answer.
Okay.
I said that weird. Variable.
Variable.
And then a semicolon to end your statement.
Perfect.
Okay, now let's go ahead and watch how that affects our program.
I know
There
what I'm
you
looking
go.
for.
Perfect.
Yay! There we go.
You have gotten input from the user and displayed it to the screen. Very nicely done.
Thank you. High five.
Thank you. Okay, let's go ahead and move on, and I will show you a similar way of doing this in JavaScript and Kotlin. All right, let's go ahead and do some JavaScript. We are going to set this up like we always do. We're going to get rid of that intro thing. We're going to get rid of this awesome font CSS and this style CSS, and we're going to delete the jQuery. And I'm going to just get rid of this line number 7 so we don't have an error message in our console. And this right here is the console. Now, unfortunately, we're going to do some things. Oh, sorry, I still need to get rid of that line number 7. There we go. Line number 7 gone. Let's get rid of this line number 3 as well. We don't need that. And we don't really need this line number 1. This is, I call them sticky notes sometimes because they work just like a sticky note on a desk. They're just like little reminders to your programmer. But anytime you see this, it's called a comment, and it's just a small comment that programmers are leaving for themselves or for other people who are going to be reading this later on. Okay, so we won't worry about those. What you see here is JavaScript has the console open. And this console right here, that's actually what we call an object. It's like those giant boxes. If you were watching week 3, They're giant boxes with little boxes inside of them, and you could run operators on stuff like that. You can actually even put small programs inside of an object. So this object has a small program attached to it, and you access that through the dot operator. We call it the access operator. And in fact, let me just show you how this works. We're going to write in console, and that is an object that's already recognized by the JavaScript language. We're going to put the dot accessor operator, and you can see all of these things are different programs that you can run in it. So you can put console.error, console.info. We're going to do console.log, and that will output whatever we put inside these parentheses to the screen. Okay, so we can put a string in here. I'm going to say hello Mars, just to show that we have something different than what's on line 1. Hello Mars. There we go. Or you could actually put in a variable. Well, let's put in this variable, and let's change that to let. Remember, that's just the old code. Old JavaScript code used var. Var doesn't work quite the way it should, so we use let nowadays. Okay, MSG, probably standing for message, I would assume. Message. And there is hello world. That's what they put in there. Okay, cool. So you can do a variable in here, or you can do a string, or you could do numbers. See, you put numbers in there and it will add it up. It will evaluate whatever you put in here and display it on your console. Now, let's take this back to message. We can even add some things in here too. We can concatenate. So I'm putting a space in here because if we don't, it's gonna just give you weird stuff. We want to type another word, you need a space in there. There we go. It doesn't automatically assume the space. Okay, so hello world, or we could do did you eat the sandwich? Question mark. Cool, huh? Okay, so now I'm going to do something entirely different. We don't have the C in and the C out that we did back in C++. One of the problems is that JavaScript was meant to interact with the internet, and so there really aren't a whole lot of reasons why you would ever need to get input from a user through the console, and so they just didn't include that. At least they haven't included it in an easy way that I understand. So there's another way that we could get input and save it in a variable without having to code a whole new web page to the front of our program. So what we're going to do is we will type down the variable that we want to store it in. Let's say var. No. I'm sorry. Let was the sandwich ate. Okay. Was the sandwich eaten? Eaten? Okay, and we're going to say it's equal to another object. This object is probably the most important object in JavaScript. It's window. And just about everything in JavaScript is connected to the window object. So we're going to say window.prompt, and that is pulling up a whole nother program attached to this window object. This is a lot more complicated than I ever meant for it to be. Prompt. And then I believe you can just put it's already showing up. Okay, so you can put that's that prompt program. When you put those things in there, JavaScript is already running this program as we speak. It is constantly running this and going back and checking and making sure if we haven't added any new code. So we say prompt. We're going to add our message in here. Let's comment this out. Okay, so we can change this into a sticky note while we finish writing it out by putting those 2 dashes. There we go, right? 2 dashes. No! Okay, 2 dashes. These are some of the limitations of JavaScript. I love and sometimes hate JavaScript just because it does funny things like this. Okay, window prompt. Did you eat the sandwich? Sandwich. Okay. Question mark. Okay, and putting it in these parentheses means it will ask that question. Now, we got to get ready. As soon as we remove these two little things, it's going to ask us that, and so we'll have to be ready to put our answer in. Did you eat the sandwich? There you go. Can you see that right there? Perfect. Let's say, yes. Okay, now let's go ahead and display that to the screen. Okay, let's do console. Access that console. Oh, you are going to be a pain, I can see. So let's just comment that out. When we are ready to run this whole program, we'll run this whole program. How's that? Console.log. And we're going to say, let's just put the string in here. What would we say? We would say was the... In fact, we're computer programmers. We know that we're storing it in this box. Let's put just the full name of that box in there. And we're going to say the result of that is plus, and then we're going to display that. So I'm going to say was the sandwich ate. And that is, there we go. And that is the name of our variable up here. Okay, let us open this up and see what it displays. Okay, so now we're going to say, yes, I ate the sandwich. And there you go. It's storing that, and we're outputting it. We're saying, okay, what's inside that box? Oh, yes is inside that box. Now, we could... Actually, I think that's enough for today. Let's go ahead and switch over to Kotlin now. Okay, let's start doing some Kotlin programming. We're going to open up IntelliJ. And that might take a second. Okay, I'm going to cancel that. I don't want to open my last project. And that should bring me up to this window. Okay, let's go ahead and create a new project. And I'm going to click Kotlin. Hello world. Okay. Okay, so now let's go ahead and create our main file. So I'm going to source src Kotlin file, and I'm going to name that hello world. Okay, and we are going to start off with fun main parentheses and then in curly brackets. Okay, let's go ahead and put our message into a variable. So we're going to say var. Actually, let's put this into a constant, val instead. And then we're going to say greeting. Or that we could do, we'll just follow the JavaScript example and say, was it MSG? Yeah, message. Equals hello world. There we are. Okay, let's move on. Now let's display that. So displaying that, we have two different options. There's two different programs that will display that to our console. We can do print, and that will put it to the console. But if we want, we can do print ln, print line, and that will print it to the console, but it will also move our cursor down to the next line, which could be really useful for us. So let's go ahead and do that. Then we want to ask a question. So let's do val. Actually, let's just prove that you don't have to put something in a variable to print it out to the screen. Let's go print line, and I believe you can just put a string inside here without storing it anywhere. So it will print it to the screen and then forget that it ever did anything, and that will be better for our memory. So we'll go ahead and say print line, did you eat the sandwich? All right. Now we want to store whether that sandwich was actually eaten. So we will say var was sandwich, yep, ate. Perfect. And to get this to store, I believe you say, sorry, I'm looking this up to make sure that I'm doing this correctly. Read line. Read line. Read line is camel cased. There we go. Okay, that is the way to do that. Okay, and then we will. So what we're doing right here is we're saying, hey, create a new box. It's going to be called was the sandwich ate, and the value of it is going to be whatever we type into the console right after this line prints. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and say print line, print ln. There we go. Everything inside that parentheses. Oh, we don't actually care about quotation marks there. Instead, we're going to say was sandwich ate. There we go. Oh, you're right. I don't need a semicolon there. It's trying to help me. Okay, that should be a successful program. Let's go ahead and run it. We'll find out. So it's building it down here. It's a little progress bar. Usually you can see how, there we go, how well it's doing on the build. I'm going to open up this terminal here. Okay, there we go. Here we are. It printed our hello world, which is right there. It printed our did you eat the sandwich, and it's waiting for our read line. So I think it's going to read everything that we type in and store it as a string. Not yet. Yes. And then we'll hit enter. Yes. Okay, so it saved it as yes. Let's go ahead and add a label to this so that we know why we're was the sandwich ate? Yes. Okay, so let's go ahead and run that again. It's going to rebuild it. I pushed this over here. I could have pushed this right here too. Okay, and it's building. Oh no! I need a additions operator, I think. See, here, let's figure out what this error message says. Unsupported literal prefix and suffix. Man, that sounds like a bunch of mumbo jumbo. I think what it's missing is that. There we go. Convert connect. Okay, let's go ahead and rebuild. Wasn't that nice of it to tell us that we have an error? Okay, here we go. Running. It's running. So I don't think we had any errors. Let's see. No. I'm offended that you would even ask. Was the sandwich eat? No. There you go. And that is input and output with the console in Kotlin.